My name is Kalin Kostadinov. I'm a cloud services advisor for service providers in North Europe, Eastern Europe, and the Balkans region. I'm going to start with a few words about Acronis. We were founded in 2003 in Singapore, and we were incorporated in Switzerland in 2008. We've been one of the major players in the backup and imaging industry in the last 17 years, but in the last 5 years, we are a cyber protection company more than anything else. We've seen massive growth in our cloud business, especially with the platform for service providers we will discuss today. Acronis is being used by 100% of the Fortune 1000 companies. We work with American government, with governments around the world, with American Air Force, Army, Justice System, NHS in the UK, and a lot of other government and non-government institutions. Interesting fact here is that Acronis has been on Mars because NASA uses Acronis, and when, if you remember this situation when the Mars rover got stuck and it couldn't move for a few days, NASA basically used Acronis to restore the functionality of the rover, which is really interesting. We have more than 25,000 partner service providers and more than 30,000 partner resellers. We have more than 1,800 employees in more than 33 locations. We have more than 900 employees in R&D. So we essentially develop all the technology ourselves. We have more than 300 patents. We also use and work with blockchain, artificial intelligence, and machine learning technologies as well in the last 5 years to combat more of the complex tasks. We think that there will be a few major challenges in the digital world in the next 10 years, because right now there are 50 billion devices in the world, but we think that in 2030, the research shows that there will be 500 billion devices in more than 1.5 billion locations. And only 1 to maybe 5% of these devices are going to be core and large public data centers and clouds. Most of them, 95 to 99% of these devices are just going to be small data centers in remote locations and just endpoints, computers, phones, and various devices. And with Internet of Things, with virtual reality, with augmented reality, everything is going to become smart, is going to become connected. Everyone's going to have something that will need protection, either your phone, your laptop, or your smartwatch, your smart car, your cyber truck, or your smart house is going to be connected, and it's going to need some kind of cyber protection because everyone basically values their privacy. And with the industrialization of cybercrime in the last 5, even 10 years back, we see a big growth in cyber attacks. And with things like there's things like ransomware as a service and exploit as a service on the dark web. Nowadays, it's really, really easy for cyber criminals to find the tools needed for them to attack these organizations and steal your data, because essentially they are after the data. The data is the most important and most valuable asset for the companies, and they need to protect it. Now, data will also grow exponentially in the next 10 years. So what we've noticed, and the trend in the last 4 years basically shows us that data basically doubles every 2 years. So right now there is about 50 zettabytes of data, but in 5 years there will be 175 zettabytes of data. So it's going to grow exponentially. Like I mentioned, with everything becoming smart and connected, like these smart trucks and autonomous vehicles, they collect so much data that it's needed for analytics and statistics, that everything is going to need protection nowadays. And essentially, we really think that in the next 10 years, privacy and cyber protection is gonna become the 5th basic human need, because everyone's gonna have a device that's gonna need protection. Now, we really give you complete privacy and control over your clients and over the data. You have complete control and management over the access of the data. You can basically choose and basically choose and control where you want to store the data, so you're completely flexible. You have complete access and behavior access control over the data. You have a complete audit and log access and control over what, who, and when has done what on the platform. Now, we from Acronis, we think that traditional backup is dead, because with traditional backup, your backups are not protected, data is not protected, agents are not protected, and that can just easily result in a downtime after an attack, and your data is not going to guaranteed authenticity. And what we aim to protect is the 5 vectors of cyber protection, is what we call SAPAS. That's safety, accessibility, privacy, authenticity, and security. And we aim to deliver a complete cyber protection solution that really aims to give you all vectors of cyber protection. So we give you proactive protection in the face of vulnerability assessments, patch management, data protection map, continuous data protection. We give you active protection in the form of our new full stack machine learning and artificial intelligence antivirus, anti-malware solution. It's our own behavior engine. We give you, of course, reactive protection. You can always have a reliable and safe copy of your data, so you can always restore from a backup, or you can always rely on disaster recovery. If anything happens or a hardware fails, you'll be back up online in a matter of 5 to 10 minutes. We guarantee data authenticity with blockchain technologies, so we issue certificates of notarizations. And as I mentioned, we have our hybrid cloud architecture, which is really designed to give you complete privacy and flexibility and control over the data of your clients. Now, in a sense, Acronis has a complete cyber singularity, because we have cyber protection for end customers and SMB customers and enterprises. This is essentially our classic side of the business, on-premise solutions. So you buy a license for each device. Here, for you as a partner, you can take advantage of our reseller program. But today we are here to discuss Acronis Cyber Cloud, which is the platform for service providers. On top of that, we got a cyber platform for developers, APIs, and the SDKs. We have cyber infrastructure, we have a hardware appliance, and a software-defined storage, and we have cyber services for more complex tasks. But we're here to discuss Acronis Cyber Cloud. It's a service provider platform. It's a completely multi-tiered and multi-tenant platform, which means that you can sell it to your customers, SMB clients, or end users, but you can also resell the platform completely to other partners of yours and other IT companies. And you basically can specify which services you want them to have option to resell and offer to their clients, and they will just have a management console of their own as a tenant partner underneath your console. Now, the platform is completely packed with all the tools service providers need to get started. So we have provisioning and billing, auditing quotas, reporting to, and management. The platform is completely white labeled. You can rebrand it completely. And we really have integrations with most of the RMM and PSA platforms out there. We really integrate smoothly with all of these. We also have a RESTful API, so you can pretty much bring up any information in the platform or down from the platform, or even automate the processes. Now, here on this slide, you can see what services are included in the platform. Here you have one management console, and under this management console, you have all of these services included in there. These are Acronis Cyber Protect, Acronis Backup, Acronis Disaster Recovery, Acronis File Sync and Share, Acronis Notarizations, and Acronis Cyber Infrastructure. And here on the left, you see all the different customer offerings you can basically approach your customers with. And the best thing is that you can easily just mix and match. So you can offer only backup for one customer plus disaster recovery. Maybe other customers, they just want a file sync and share solution. Maybe a third customer wants everything. Or maybe you just want to offer malware protection, ransomware protection, vulnerability assessment, and patch management, URL filtering. That's totally up to you. So essentially you're completely flexible as to what services you want to offer. You can really just mix and match and enable and disable services for your customer, which really makes the platform really easy to upsell and cross-sell to your customers. And if you're only offering them backup, you basically just click on this, enable vulnerability assessments and patch management, and boom, you're ready to go. Now, because we really have about 10 minutes, I can't really go into more detail about all of this, but I will just have to quickly jump into the pricing, because I want to mention the pricing option for all of this. These are the 3 different editions of our platform. For backup, you have standard and advanced edition. The standard edition basically allows you to back up all the known platforms. Advanced edition basically only difference is that you can back up clusters of Exchange and SQL and Oracle databases. Otherwise, if you don't have customers with these needs, standard edition would cover all of your other needs. And I think...
May I interrupt? There's a question in the chat. And
sure.
also take your time.
Okay, fantastic. Let me just check the chat real quick.
Yeah.
When will I save? Yes. So essentially, here you see the slide with all the data centers that we have. Let me just find it real quick. There we go. So these are the data centers, Acronis data centers. If you, I would probably recommend you use the Frankfurt data center as an Acronis cloud destination, but you can use all of them essentially. If you have clients from Europe, you will use one of our data centers, let's say Frankfurt. But if you have clients from the States, you basically you will just have a second management console that will be hosted, because the management console, it's hosted on Acronis data centers. You don't have to install anything on your backend, and you can only have one management console for each data center, because the management console is in the data center that you basically back up the data to. But in a sense, you're really flexible as to where you want to store the data. So in regards to backup and storage options, you're really flexible. So you can choose Acronis cloud storage, you can choose your own storage, your own data center if you have maybe rented some data center storage somewhere, or if you want to use third-party storage like Google, Azure, Amazon Cloud, Alibaba, Wasabi. As long as your storage is S3 compatible or Swift object storage, you're good to go. I want to mention really quickly one specific feature only unique to Acronis. Is our universal restore feature. This basically includes not only bare metal recovery and dissimilar hardware options, but also includes this feature called Acronis Startup Recovery Manager. And what it means is that if you just imagine a scenario, if you have a customer working from home, if their PC completely dies, so their PC or laptop cannot even boot up, so this client has a few options. They go to you, they send you the device, or you have to go there to fix it. But if they have Acronis installed, you basically, the client just needs to press F11 on the keyboard. This will start the Startup Recovery Manager. This machine will then just pop up in your management console, and you can just easily restore from the last known backup. Easy. I'm not going to focus on all of the other solutions. We have disaster recovery in the platform. We have a file sync and share solution. Unlike other file sync and share solution, this is enterprise level security. It's a lot more secure than OneDrive and Dropbox, but the main advantage is that you can deploy this solution in your own storage. So if you have partners looking for maybe your partners are really sensitive about the data. They don't want the data ever leaving their company. They're really sensitive. Then you can deploy this file sync and share solution on their own storage. So let me give you a use case. I was working with a service provider who has clients from the banking sector. They're really sensitive about the data, and they basically use Files Cloud to deploy it on their own storage. That way, the data never leaves their company. They have complete control. And it's really easy. This is basically Active Directory. You import everything that you've already set it up. We have, they were importing 10,000 machines on this yesterday, and they just did it through the RESTful API. Easy. This is the notarization. Like I said, this basically issues a certificate of notarization that your data is authentic based on blockchain technology. Now, with the new solution, with Cyber Protect solution, we really aim to deliver complete protection. So we have anti-ransomware protection which is actually completely free of charge. Our anti-ransomware protection is free of charge for you and your customers, and it's completely behavioral based. No antivirus signatures, no definitions, completely heuristics and behavioral approach. We have our own engine, which is based on artificial intelligence and machine learning, and it basically monitors the processes in your system. And if anything, even coming from a trusted process, if it tries to encrypt your data, that's probably a red flag, and we'll block and stop these processes. We are the #1 anti-ransomware protection on the market in the last 3 years. That can easily be checked in avtest.org or just through a Google search. And we really protect against 99.9999% of the ransomwares. There has not been a ransomware attack which we haven't stopped actually yet. So we don't rely on any signatures or databases. Other vendors actually can just put out some active protection ransomware protection, but it's not. If you look into closer, it's not really active protection. It doesn't have behavior approach. It only relies on signatures. So this is definitely not sufficient protection, because if you only rely on signatures and databases, you're basically hoping that the attackers are just going to target you with tools that are known already. So this is definitely not sufficient enough. And the future in cyber protection is going to be behavior. It's going to be machine learning and artificial intelligence. It's going to be zero-day protection. And this is where we really come in. With our behavior engine, we have a static analyzer, and we really protect you against those zero-day threats. Like, Zoom, these guys had really hard times and a lot of troubles with some known vulnerabilities, as well as WebEx and the TeamViewer. But we basically know about these vulnerabilities. We patch them up. We remediate the problem, and we basically protect Zoom. Right now, because I have my Cyber Protect installed on this machine, no one can take advantage in Zoom. So it's really, really easy for you to protect all of these environments. And for service providers, we have also introduced remote desktop. So you can connect to your clients real easy, just using RDP or HTML5 client. We have vulnerability assessments, which cover most of the, everything Microsoft, and another 68 supported applications like Adobe, Oracle, browsers, Zoom, Slack, Team, WebEx, and so on. We have patch management, auto approval on patches, manual deployment or on a schedule. We have fail-safe patching, which means that we do automatic backup before patching. We've all been there. If anything happens, we can always restore if things are even worse than before. And essentially, with all of this, with Cyber Protect functionality, we really aim to deliver a complete cyber protection, and we aim to do that with one license, one user interface, one management console, and one complete cyber protection plan that includes backup, includes malware protection, URL filtering, vulnerability assessment, patch management, remote desktop, and all the services that I mentioned so far. And essentially, all of this is just a single agent. So you don't have to buy licenses for 3 or 4 other vendors for all of this. You have here everything under one user interface and one management console, one agent. So essentially, we really aim to basically eliminate complexity. We really aim to give you more productivity, more endpoints and devices per technician, and thus improving your productivity and then reducing your operational costs. Now, let me check if there's any questions in here. Oop, there's a lot of questions. Office 365 for Germany. So Office 365, Office 365 at the moment, it's only cloud-to-cloud backup, meaning that we back up Exchange Online, SharePoint, and OneDrive for Business. But at the moment, this is cloud-to-cloud. So you can only back up either to Acronis Cloud, to your cloud, or to third-party cloud. Local backup is not possible for Office 365. The new version of our solution coming out in June will also include Microsoft Teams as new functionality in Office 365. Maybe this is worth mentioning here. New functionality will also include disaster recovery because disaster recovery at the moment is only deployable in a Acronis recovery site. So it means that you have a replica of the server configured in Acronis Cloud with computing power, like 8 CPU with 30 gigs of RAM. And then in a case of anything happens, you spin up this virtual machine. It takes no more than 5 to 10 minutes and you're back online. You know, you can really be creative with disaster recovery. Let me just quickly tell you how. I spoke to this IT manager in the Cloud Expo in London, and he's like, Kalin, do you know how we use disaster recovery? They were existing partner. And I'm like, well, how? Well, you know, if we have to do a maintenance on a physical server, you usually have to do that after hours or during the weekends. But, you know, nobody likes to work after hours or during the weekends. So what we do is we set up disaster recovery, we spin up the virtual machine in your cloud, we take down the physical server, we do the maintenance for like 1 or 2 or 3 hours. When we are ready, we basically just fail back on our physical server, the data will sync up, and we don't have to work after hours. You know, you're probably paying more your technician to work during the weekends than you would pay us for disaster recovery, because we actually charge you for when you're actually using it. We don't charge when you start consuming those computing points. It's when we actually charge you for it. Otherwise, we don't charge you for disaster recovery. I'm not gonna discuss anything more. I propose, like we discussed with the guys from Ingram to do a separate separate webinar to focus more on these in more detail. Now let me discuss the pricing here, guys. Like I mentioned, standard edition most of the times covers all of your needs for backup. So unless you have some customers that need backup of clusters of SQL Exchange or SAP HANA or Oracle databases, then standard edition would pretty much cover all of your other needs. It also includes free vulnerability assessment. Now, for backup, we have a few different pricing models. So first of all, the platform is completely pay-as-you-go model. And with Ingram Micro Marketplace, you guys have a completely pay-as-you-go only model, which is Ingram Micro offerings. But with Acronis, essentially this is Ingram Micro pay-as-you-go option. But we also have a commitment models and different billing models. So we have per gigabyte model is the first one, and the 250 euros is our first starting commitment. It means that per gigabyte model means that we only charge you for storage of capacity. We don't care how many devices you back up. We don't care what devices you back up. If it's 100 servers, if it's 1,000 workstations, virtual machines, Office 365 users, if it's cPanel, we don't care. We only charge you per gigabyte, nothing else. And there's no other charges, there's no other fees, there's no upfront costs, and there's no anything for you to invest, nothing. So there's a fixed price here for using Acronis Cloud, and that's 10 cents per gigabyte. And there's a fixed price for using any other storage. That includes local storage, that includes your service provider storage cloud, or third party like Azure, Amazon, Alibaba, Wasabi, or so on. Now, we also got a second billing model. Second billing model is per device model. Here you have a fixed price for each number and type of devices you're backing up. So if you're backing up a physical server and you choose to store the data on your storage or in a third-party storage like IBM Cloud or Alibaba Cloud, then you will only pay this fixed price for the server. You don't pay us anything else. So we don't care how many gigabytes you use in your storage or local storage. You only pay the fixed price per device. And in this billing model, you can still back up to Acronis Cloud, but on this lowered price, because let's say you have a customer who wants to back up a physical server and they want to back it up locally, but they also want a cloud backup. They will pay 22 euros for the local backup, and then they will pay 4 cents per gigabyte on top of this charge. So this is like you see, this is a significantly lower charge here compared to per gigabyte model. This is 10 cents. Well, here is 4 cents because it basically goes on top of this device charge here. Now, these are the prices, like I mentioned, for standard edition, and within the commitment of 250 euros, let me just show you this here. You also get included services. So if we imagined, if you're backing up everything to Acronis Cloud, in the 250 euros, you get 2.5 terabytes of data included. If you back up to your own storage, the minimum commitment, you need about 4.1 terabytes of data. So essentially, also, you only have one commitment. It's not one commitment per customer. You have one commitment, and you can mix and match all of these services here to reach your minimum commitment. So you can sell backups, you can sell disaster recovery, protection, filtering, patching, vulnerability assessments, and mix and match different solutions to different customers to reach this minimum commitment. Now, it's really interesting. Just to final slide, I want to show you the pricing for Acronis Cyber Protect. So all of these services, anti-malware, anti-ransomware, URL filtering, continuous data protection, vulnerability assessments and patch management, remote desktop, forensic data, everything, if you already back up someone, let's say in Acronis Cloud or in your storage, and if you want to basically provide them with any of this functionality, for all of this functionality, we will just additionally charge you per server, virtual machine, or workstation, 2.5 euros. So for 2.5 euros, you basically get all of this. You get everything. And then if you back up, you basically pay what is on top of backup. So that means that if you have a customer who basically wants to protect like all of their machines with cybersecurity, like anti-malware, patching, vulnerability assessments, URL filtering, but they maybe from 20 machines, they don't want to back up 20 machines. Maybe they just want to back up like 5 machines. So no problem. You basically enable and disable services as you go along. So it's really, really easy. You basically, like I said, you pay for what you consume. These here are the prices for the Acronis tier commitments, but you also have the purely only no commitment pay-as-you-go option from Ingram Micro Marketplace. And the colleagues from Ingram Micro can give you more information in regards to that. They also got some pre-packaged deals. So you can only buy like 1 terabyte of cloud storage, and that's it. So you can only buy fixed prices and fixed packages as well. So it's really totally up to you how you want to approach this. Essentially, the guys from Ingram are here to answer all of your queries, and I'm here to also help out with any of your queries. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to the guys from Ingram, and if they need anything, they will also include me, and I will jump in. We can discuss this in more detail, organize a demo session, and basically help you to choose the best solution for your portfolio.